it's the disqualification that you have to be able to do early, especially given that we know most of our buyers would prefer to do their research and everything else online before talking with a salesperson. Like 80% of people would rather not talk to a salesperson. And then there's all of the stats that talk about how far along in the buying process people are, which is making this digital transparency, as I like to call it, so much more important. So, at what point did you feel it was the right time for you to talk to a salesperson?
Whenever we did enough research to feel comfortable,
Hmm.
so we had, let's say we started with 5 products that we were looking at, and then we narrowed it down to our top 2. We had a couple questions between them. So then we started a conversation, and the conversation was not, "Hey, let's get on a discovery call so that then you can tell me if I'm a good fit for this, and then we can see a demo, and then I can ask you some questions." It was, "Hey, I'm sold if you can do this one thing. So I just need to know, I don't know, if I add 3 people on a team to this particular event, can you make magic happen?"
Hmm.
And a simple yes or no in a live chat can give me that answer, and then I can move forward.
Yeah. And so, when you did finally talk to a salesperson at Calendly, how did it go?
I don't know if we actually did talk to a real salesperson. I think we might have just signed up and then asked
Hmm.
support a few questions.
Okay. So, this was more of a self service type of option for you.
It was, I mean, we've definitely talked to their sales teams or members of their sales team over the
Mhm.
years as we've grown and things have changed. But I think we started with, one user. Let's just get in and give it a shot. And if it doesn't work, it was, $10 a month or whatever. So we could tap
Right.
out.
Right. Is there an experience that you can think of when you did talk with a salesperson after going online and finding all of these things and it went really well?
Yeah, so one we've actually just started with, it's a customer advocacy program or platform called
Mhm.
Influitive.
Okay.
And for those unfamiliar, customer advocacy is basically turning customers who are happy with you into advocates for your brand. So it's a platform to incentivize them to take actions like leave you a review, give you referrals, or just engage with you in a conversation.
Mhm.
Um, so we've been saying for a while, hey, we have all these customers who love us. We don't really have a way to put a formal program around incentivizing them or just showing them our appreciation. And so let's start the research process for that. Um, Process for that was I talked to a few people who I respected, who I saw they had their own programs going on, asked them what they did, what platforms they used, et cetera, et cetera. So I cut out as much of the personal research as I could to
By
begin
getting a
with.
referral.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So kind of crowdsourced from a few different people. There were 3 or 4 platforms I think that came up, and then we did some of our own research too and talked to some people.
Mhm.
But then from that point, we went to their website. Then we reached out and said, "Hey, have questions? This is what we're trying to do." And Influitive have had a very good experience with their rep, Dylan. I think I'm actually talking to him later today, believe it or not. Um,
Shout out to Dylan.
Shout out to Dylan. And the process was very simple. He was very professional. He was very knowledgeable about the industry, and he wasn't trying to nickel or dime or show me everything that the product could do. I just said, "We're trying to do these 3 things." He said, "Here's how you do these 3 things. Are there any other questions you have?" I probably asked a couple nitpicky things. He told me.
Mhm.
We moved on. You know, then we had a call about they have their pricing, their basic pricing listed on their website. We had a conversation about the nuances of it, how many things of whatever are included or not. What will we need? We're
Mhm.
not sure how this is going to go. Can we start with something and then refresh it in a 2 or 3 months if needed? Um, they address that all very quickly, very helpfully, and very clearly. Anyway, so that's been a great experience.
Mhm. And so, in your conversations with Dylan, it sounds like you had specific sort of product and features types of problems or questions. Um, what else is it about that conversation that stuck out to you as giving you a good experience?
The fact that he would address the question with what I'm trying to get out of it, not with what he's trying to get out of it.
I love that. I wish there were more of that.
Yes. Yes. Because so often, I mean, I'm in marketing, right? So I think about
Yeah.
it as too often businesses are saying what they want to tell and they aren't saying what they need customers to remember,
Mhm. Or what
or what
customers
customers
care
need to
about to
hear.
begin with.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. It's why we call these buyer first. It's why I talk about it's not about us and what we want. It has to always be about what they want, because those who have the goal are the ones that make the rules, the buyers. So let's switch gears a little bit. So we've talked about what the good buying experience has and what was beneficial in that, and the fact that they were asking you questions about things that you cared about, not just the things that they cared about in their process. Sounds like that was a big deciding factor for you, and it sounds like has helped you to develop a great relationship with both Dylan and the company going forward, because you're still talking with them.
Absolutely.
So let's switch gears and talk about the bad one.
Okay.
And we've all had those bad experiences. And you don't have to name names, because we'll leave out keep the guilty innocent, so to speak. But what was the type of thing that or problem that you were trying to solve, and what was it in the process that frustrated you the most?
So one comes to mind was maybe this time last year or 18 months ago, we were looking for a new platform to rebuild our website on.
Hmm.
So we'd gotten to a certain level, we needed to really start from the ground up, and so we went searching and did the same thing I mentioned before, where Google search for whatever keywords, went to a couple of review sites, grabbed the top 5 or 10
Hmm.
off of that, and then started going through the websites. And there was one that had a ton of 5-star reviews. That at first glance from their website, it looked very well put together. They had, some nice logos shown from or customer logos. But then it started getting a little confusing. So the messaging on their website wasn't clear. There's a lot of buzzwords. It wouldn't just tell me, here's exactly what we do and who we do it for.
Hmm.
Gave them the benefit of the doubt because I'm in marketing. I see this every day. I'm guilty of it myself. Moved on a little bit. I did get to see the product some, which was helpful, not enough. And so needed to schedule a call to see what the demo was, or to just see the product. They also didn't have pricing on their website, so I needed to see if they were even in the ballpark. And
Yeah.
I'm honestly a little surprised in myself for reaching out and going through that step with them. But anyway, I reached out, said, "Hey, I need to know pricing, what we get with it." They a couple of emails back and forth to schedule a discovery call. The discovery call was not really helpful, and then kept asking for a demo. Scheduled another call, said they would give us a demo, gave us like a 5-minute overview, with the slide deck, and then had some other questions for us that were still trying to qualify us,
Hmm.
um, which was is rather off-putting. Um, and then eventually, I think a week or two later, they sent me an Excel sheet that had a pricing breakdown based on our conversation, and the I think the lowest tier was 2 or 2.5 times what we had internally said we'd be able to pay starting off on something.
Hmm.
And so then it was just a non-starter. So there was a lot of time spent there. They had 3 employees, I think, on each call we had with them. So there's a lot of wasted time
Hmm.
on their end. Anyway, we could have skipped all of that.
Yeah, yeah. So it sounds like the things that were most frustrating was number one, they didn't have enough product information or being able to see the product on the website for you to be able to feel comfortable, which made you have to schedule the call. And then from scheduling the call, you said the discovery wasn't very helpful. Can we dig into that a little bit more? What about the discovery was ineffective or unhelpful or turned you off?
So in general, this is my semi-controversial take, is that for any kind of an inbound flow, a discovery call is a waste of time.
Hmm. Okay.
Because before I reach out, I've already qualified myself. If I'm not interested or I don't think I'm a good fit, I'm not going to talk to you,
Hmm.
right? So there's that. But then the questions were very basic, and they're often either things that were addressed in the contact form that I shared with them. So it's repeating or making me repeat efforts,
Yep.
um, or things that if they listen to what we're trying to accomplish, kind of that the answer to the first question, if they have any experience, they should be able to kind of decipher from there. So if I
Hmm.
say, hey, we need a platform that's going to scale with this because we have this amount of traffic, and we need to be able to customize whatever modules across pages so that our marketing team can jump in at any time and we don't have to go through product. Like,
Hmm.
especially in this world of website platforms, fairly standard things.
Right.
Um, So clarifying whatever clarifying questions they had, I don't remember the specifics, but they didn't really add value to the conversation.